everyone, Egman here with another video. And today we're going to look at the Core TCG Webcam Regional Top 16 from this past weekend. Not only was this a regional, but it was the first official tournament with the new ban list in effect. And boy, did we get just a cool little top 16 because of that as well. And honestly, this is like the first first top that we didn't have a Dark Broly, a Mecha Frieza, or some kind of red king between King Vegeta or King Piccolo in the top 16, which pretty much hasn't happened since this year, as far as I know. Most of the tops had at least one, if not all three of those in the top 16, which is super crazy, since it is now the 9th month of the year. But we're going to look into that. Also, shoutouts to Core TCG for running this event and also giving me these lists to show you guys. I really do appreciate that. But going into the top 16, we also, to note, we do have one of every color in the top 16, which hasn't happened in a very long time, at least for official Bandai events from my regards. So that's really cool. And once again, this document is in the description of this video as well, if you guys just care about hitting the lists. And also, if you guys have any videos for these lists, let me know. I'll have them linked into the document as well. But going down the the leader breakdown, we have 3 Gogeta, the Son Goku Black, the Goku and Vegeta kind of fusion deck. We had 2 King Colds with Devin Butterworth placing first with one of the versions of it. We have 2 Aandroidd 18, 1 Son Goku or HeckKu. We have a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta ramp, a yellow Syn Shenron, a yellow Higher Dragon Gohan, a Universe 7 Gohan, a blue baby, a red Mill Cooler, a red Jiren, and also the old Mill Janemba from forever ago, from set 5 meta, it was almost 2 years ago that guy came out, and it's still getting top 16 with the 16th place finish. And just a lot of variety in general. And also, you'll kind of see that there's a bunch of mill decks that kind of popped up today, which haven't kind of been around for a while. 5 of these decks are kind of mill variants, so we're going to look at that. But let's look at the first place list of Devin Butterworth. If you know Devin, he's been playing green a long time, and he's been playing King Cold for a long time as well, pretty much since release. And I think it's definitely one of the strongest lists that also kind of hasn't been hit by the ban list from any of them, really. There are a couple kind of little hits, but in general, the core of this deck is still pretty good. Obviously the new Banjin Buu secret rare is super duper good. And also, Devin's probably going to talk about his list better than I, so you can click his video too. But I think just the things to mention about this is the Buu Unison is really good. He's also running the 5-drop Majin Buu as well. You can kind of talk about how he felt about that as also. But this is just honestly still just a solid core. Kind of its worst matchups got erased from the game a little bit, so it kind of can thrive in there. We also have the 5th place finish of Daniel as well. Kind of more or less the same thing, obviously running more or less the same thing. A lot of people, and we'll see this, almost over half the decks of these top 16 ran a Super Saiyan 4 Bardock and a Champa. I don't think this one has the Champa in it, but it's just super crazy how many decks just run like a Supreme Kai and also a the Bardock. So it's super crazy. It's just a win condition for so many decks. It feels like if you need to, but I think both of these decks are pretty good. There's the Fuse Zamasu in this list, and this kind of more controlled. A couple 1-0s with the Frieza and the Yamcha as well. Also running the Cooler counterplay, which I don't think is played in this one. No, but also running Kortsukai kind of in the same sense, kind of. I don't know. Once again, I think this archetype is really strong in itself. It needs a good pilot because there are a lot of interactions at times. And I think it's just right out the gates out of a new ban list. I think this kind of archetype is good, and it how it works, and so you can kind of just go through this new format. So congrats to those guys there. Next up, we've got David Sublet's version of SS4 Vegeta. We saw this from Oceania from Anthony Hain as well. Kind of this Vegeta list doing well, being able to ramp up, and just honestly the thing that this deck kind of was crumbling to was a lot of just kind of aggression that doesn't really exist as heavy anymore. So just being able to ramp once with this deck just feels like you lose the game almost, or you just win the game if you're playing the deck, that is, and super duper good in that regard. If you don't know what he does on the auto once per turn, when you deal damage to your opponent by attacking with this card, you look at the top card of your deck. If it's mono blue, place it in your energy and rest mode, or otherwise place it at the top of your deck. So it's very easy to awaken with this, especially if you just use Ultra Instinct Goku's Kamehameha on like turn 1. You just get a big boost there. And honestly, blue's just been kind of slowly been developing a lot of cool tools, especially like Bojack is so good. Galactic Buster's very good, just as like threats. Like obviously Majin Buu, a lot of the Agent Destructions is amazing. If you're able to ramp with this leader and get this out one turn earlier, then you're in a really good spot as well. So I think obviously we saw Anthony Hayden do really well with this deck, and David Sublet with this as well. So I think this is kind of something that, like, there's, Baby kind of isn't as good anymore. There is a topping Baby list as well, but I think Blue just has a lot of generically good tools. You just kind of have to tune it to where you need it to as well. Also, being able to play this card is very silly. Just like just being able to do that, I think is kind of silly being able to do that as well. So yeah, just getting to 9 and then doing your stuff. And just saying, hey, you can't activate stuff. But that is that, and then we'll go to the third list. So we've got David Fu's version of Aandroidd 18 Mill, and we had one other variant as well, with Jason Scott placing 16th, sorry, yeah, 16th with it. And they're more or less the same. If you guys don't know what this deck does, you use your Aandroidd 21 scheme to make a bunch of tokens to your opponent's side of the field. We have some cards like Aandroidd 13 and also Aandroidd 16. This makes you, when a clone token is played by skill and one of your extra cards, play 2 clone tokens so you can get the extra ones. Active main, you can remove 1 clone token from your game, play this card from your drop area or hand. You can only have 1 of these, and it can't be, your opponent's clone tokens can't swing either. And then this is kind of the same thing. You get to play this for free. And honestly, what you just try to do is you just try to build as many clone tokens on your opponent's side of the field. You get this Frieza out by playing it with Rebirth of Justice, because you choose up to 1 blue battle card in your hand with any cost of 5 or less and play it. And you can return 1 of your opponent's battle cards and return it to his hand. And then this full power Frieza just says when this card attacks, choose all of your opponent's battle cards ignoring barrier, and they get minus 30k power for the duration of the turn. And when the power of one of your opponent's battle cards is increased during your opponent places 2 cards from the top of the deck into their drop area. This is not once per turn, so if your opponent has like 10 tokens, you swing in, you mill them 20 cards, which by turn 4, turn 5 is most of your opponent's deck, and can just be very devastating as well. So that's just kind of the idea. You just kind of get there and just finish the game from there. He added some blue-yellow text with it as well. So, Zamasu the Eliminator is one of them, which is honestly just a good card in the sense that you're able to counterplay with this. It returns to the other's hand, including unison cards. And when this card is played, you draw 1, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode, and it's just solid from there. Running some other blue-yellow cards as well, which can also be played off Rebirth of Justice, which is kind of nice. So I guess if you need like the Son Goku and Vegeta Saiyan Bonds to work, or the Son Goku and Supreme Hit, and hit Supreme Alliance, you can also do that. Obviously, you can also hard cast like a 10k combo, and then combo, rival one of these out too if you need to. All in all, just a very solid list in that regard, and I think it obviously it does. We've seen Aandroidd 18 pop up for the last kind of couple months in this mill variant, and it usually gets like a top 16 once a month, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon. And we also have the list from Jason as well. Some extra text from this one, including so one thing you have to notice from Aandroidd 21 scheme is that when you when you play a black battle card, place its owner's drop area, but that's after you play it, so you still get on-play effects from cards like Secret Identity, Mass Saiyan still gets its overwhelm effect to warp stuff. You still get Meki Kabura, the same thing. You can declare something, it doesn't do it. It just goes to the drop area afterwards. And then also we have this card, which choose 1 card in your hand, discard it, negate the attack, and play this card. If you played a card, your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they place the top 4 cards from the deck into the drop area each time. So this can kind of just be an ace in the hole sometimes, or just make it so like you get an extra turn if your opponents are really low on cards, and that can be really helpful as well. And then just kind of just cards from there. Obviously, you still run a lot of blue. I only saw 3 super combos in there. I as far as I know, this is correct. I'm not sure why there's 3, but you do have a lot of the pseudo combos, and with Aandroidd 18's effect, you get the free 10Ks with you get the free combos with any cards that are blue or green, so this counts for that. So you can get this as a free super combo, and then also Unbreakable Super Saiyan Son Goku is also a pseudo combo, but it's not free. But I don't know. I think it's interesting there. Maybe it's because I don't know. I'm not sure why there's. I would always run 4, but there's also 56 cards in this deck, 55 after the scheme. So, but obviously it's still very good, and obviously top 16 as well. So congrats there, Jason. I do want to. I just wanted to just. You have too many like pseudo combos, so you don't want to do a super combo. I'm guessing that, but it was weird. It's something I noticed. Anyways, going to 4th place, we've got Brian Samuel with HeckKu, as I like to call him. This deck was kind of hyped up a little bit strictly because it was kind of like a Vegex deck after Vegex got neutered once too many times. And so the idea of this deck is that if you pretty much put cards to the top of your deck, you stack the top of your deck, and then you have cards effects that reveal the top card placed in your drop area, and then if you play and you play a card from it, and then if you played a card, you can get like an early awakening with this guy by doing it. But most of them have these effects like this one. Some of them are free, some of them are not. But if your leader card is yellow, when this card is revealed from the top of your deck and placed into your drop area, and play this card from your drop for 1 yellow, so you get a 19k blocker. And when this card is played, draw 1, place up to 1 card from your hand on top of your deck, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch to rest mode. So that's just kind of the idea for it. Obviously, you're not very energy flexible because, but you still play a lot of things for free, and you can kind of early awaken. And then I don't know. Yellow just has a lot of cool tools right now that really helps you out. In the sense of like Mecha Freezes are really good, especially since you're running the Trip to Heck, which activate limit 1 if your leader card is a Son Goku GT, and you have 3 or more energy. Reveal the top card of your deck and place it in your drop area, which means you get a free thing for there. Also for 1 yellow, instead if your leader card is a yellow Son Goku GT, draw 2, then choose 1 card in your hand, place it on top of your deck, then reveal the top card of your deck and place it in your drop area. So it just means you can play any of those dudes for free that you want to play, including like this Pan, which you get to play this card for free, and then you can have your leader gain critical, which is really nice, and everything from there. So just honestly, it's just strong deck from there. With all the extra yellow stuff, obviously you're running the Bardock and the Hidden Power E Supreme Kai, because most decks are running that right now, and then still running Sail Xeno, even with the errata. You get so many yellow cards out. I don't know. I doubt you get to turn 5, but it's still just a 40k body you can get for free if you stack your turn right and everything else. Especially with like this being an 8-drop that you can play for turn 3. Or sorry, an 8-drop you can play for 3 energy on turn 4 is really nice as well. So that can kind of help that final hit you got there. But there you go. I'm happy that this deck got a top, just because I've seen a lot of people talk about it, and it's cool that it finally got there. Next up, we got the Gogeta Fateful Fusion. This kind of looks like it's the de facto black leader now. We've had Vegex be that for a while, and we had Dark Broly be that for a while, but it looks like it's now Gogeta's turn in the spotlight. And obviously this has been seeing some play for a while anyways, but I think now that Dark Broly is finally neutered, it's next on the block for it, and people have been playing this for a long time. It was really to a point where, why play this when you can play Dark Broly, or why play this when you can play Vegex? And now that you can play neither of those guys, there it is. So it's like the next good Black Saiyan leader. So here we go. Here's the deck for it. And I think it's a really good list, and in general, just a good archetype for what you have. Obviously, a deck that can get rid of, can use Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta throwing the Dark Empire at max efficiency can't be bad, and you just get a bunch of these cards as well. So I think it's in a solid spot for where it's at. We've got 3. It's the most common top 16 list that we have with 3. But it's just super solid with where you got. And honestly, the ratios can be whatever you want. You have a lot of like hardos of like the Kai, and you have to have enough Gokus, and you have to have enough Vegetas for it, but and you have to have enough promo Gogetas as well. But yeah, I think this is just going to be kind of it's kind of like in between Vegex and Dark Broly in a deck anyways. It's not highly aggressive, but it's not like it's like between aggression and mid range at times. We have just a lot of different plays you can do, and you can kind of sequence your plays the way you want to get what you want, and I think that's really cool. I think the only thing that is that I feel like it's just down the chopping block for real though. There's just so many cards that are strictly good for Black Saiyan leaders. It's just like, all right, well, here's the next best Black Saiyan leader, so we're gonna do that. And then if this is too bonkers, then we're gonna get rid of this, and then we'll go to, I don't know. I don't even know what's next. Like, just go to Skillless Goku at that point. Just it's a black skill, it's a Black Saiyan leader, right? So I don't know. I don't really. I think that I don't know. Black's just gone so many unique or just like good generic support that it's kind of lost its identity as a color, and it's just like, okay, what archetype can we break the next with all these broken support cards? And I don't know. I think that this card is probably going to get something happening in the next little bit, but we'll just see how it is. But it's definitely congrats to Carlos, to Parrish, and also to Hassan for their finishes. Though I think I do like this Gogeta, and I'm not at least I'm not sick of it right now. So I think it's cool to see its topping, and we'll see how the next couple weeks go with it. But I don't know. It got new support too with the Super Saiyan 4 cards we got as well, and everything else. I think it's in a cool spot and everything. Next up, we have Michael Sesma's Yellow Syn Shenron, and this is pretty much what we've been seeing for aggro Syn Shenron's list for the year. I would say after the ban list kind of neutered a lot of kind of aggressive decks and free play, including the Cell Xeno that this list would normally run. It's still in a kind of good spot, right? Like, most of its good parts haven't been hit. Obviously it might not be as fast as other aggressive decks, but those decks kind of got neutered too. So I think this is a good meta call for at least this event, and we'll kind of see how it goes moving forward. But most of these cards are good. Syn Shenron can put a lot of pressure, can be really aggressive. And, if you need to be less aggressive, you do run the 9-drop Syn Shenron as well, which can be really slow worthy. You do have the new secret rare Super 17, which can kind of catch your opponent off guard. And in general, I think this is still a super strong list if you play it right. And even just being able to play your dudes for 6 energy, if you get that far, is nice. Obviously, I think this is more aggressive than defensive, but it can just be really obnoxious, which is really good at times. And I don't know, I've never liked playing against this list, and a list like this, and I still think it's very, very obnoxious. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. Next up, we've got Giancarlo's Son Gohan and Higher Dragon, which is super nice. Being able to I don't know, so Mecha got banned, we all know this, right? And I think Higher Dragon's like the runner up for kind of like the Aegis archetype that Mecha was running before it got banned. And it's just such a good archetype in itself. Like, it's just like a solid set of cards, right? And most of it is pretty generic to just having a yellow leader, and so we just I think Higher Dragon just makes sense as the next best yellow leader for the archetype. And just because it gets, just has so much card draw, and so, being able to use Bean and like Aegis to restand your energy at the cost of cards in your hand, I think just makes sense. So, if you don't know what this does, it just has permanent during your turn. It's pretty much just used for the Higher Dragon, right? Because this can help you get extra card advantage and like awaken early, and that's kind of nice. And you get to awaken, draw 2, and then when this card attacks, draw 1, then add 1 card to your life to your hand. And on the backside, active main, once per turn, draw 1 card, then play up to a yellow skillless battle card with any cost of 1 for your drop area. So this just pluses 2 immediately, and then when this card is in battle, if there's a monster card in your combo area, you draw another card. So this can just like +3 by itself, which is insane. And you can just use that card advantage to be greedy with plays like, comboing 2 cards to get Bojack out, and then discarding a card from Bojack to get to untap 2 energy, and then just use your 2 energy to play Bardock, something like that. Like, there's a lot of plays you can play with this deck. Obviously Bean, if you have so many cards in hand, like losing a card to play Bean is never having Bean in hand and just nagging 1 card to get the +5k for the turn is just always good. And then we also have like the new Zamasu, which is strong. We have super combo Zamasu. We have this hit as well that you can reduce the combo cost of this card in your hand by 1 if you have a blue yellow multi card in your energy, which is nice, and just kind of helps out the entire deck in my mind. So I think this makes sense for Son Gohan in general. To kind of take up the mantelpiece. We've seen this deck, Aegis Son Gohan, work for a while, in the past couple months too. So I don't think it's necessarily a new concept, but definitely a refined one, and has some space now that Mecha's banned again, or not banned, but again, but just it's banned in general. So there we go. Congrats to Giancarlo there. And then going to jumping up to 11th place, we have Josue Zuinga with the red Son Gohan Universe 7, which I really like this deck coming out the gates from the set. I haven't liked red in a long time, but this definitely piqued my interest of it. And it's kind of just like between like a skillless deck and a Universe 7 deck. It's pretty much both at the same time, which is really cool. It just has like a auto once per turn. When you use a Universe 7 card in a combo, you just draw one, and that's just once per turn, and you don't get the draw effect, but this can be either player's turn, and it can just be anything from there. And when your life is at 4 or less, or you have a unison card with specified cost of 2 in play, you may draw one, switch, untap one, and then draw to 5, which is kind of nice. So, obviously, but you don't really need to awaken, which is kind of nice with this deck. And then on the awaken side, same thing. So if you can control your awakening, you can like draw an extra card every turn. Or, the turn you awaken, then also has spirit boost. But I think honestly, like based on what the ratios for this deck are, and the fact that you only run 2 unisons, it's just probably just like a good red deck with a lot of like just strong red cards that are coming out and everything else with that. So I think this is looking good. Like obviously the Son Gohan is really good. And look, top 5 for 1 red Universe 7 card with any cost 4 or less, or 1 red unison. If your lead card is red, when you use a mono red skillless battle card in combo, draw 1. So that's why you're playing these boys here. And I think, when this card attacks up to 1 red skillless battle card from your deck to your hand, then shuffle your deck. And then you can just, get 3 more energy, and you have 2 more red battle cards, and you play this for free. Like this Goku just gains a lot of value all by itself, which is nice. And it's just kind of it's kind of like, once again, it's just like a red skillless deck where these skillless cards are just free value and free combos and free card advantage, and then you just bank off that to just carry you for the rest of the game. So that's this list. I really like it. Once again, it's Universe 7, which I like, and it's pretty much a skillless deck, which I like, and I think it just pairs really, really well. Next up, we've got 12th place's Steven Martin's Blue Baby. So if you guys don't know, there is an errata with this card that just says if your leader card is a Blue Baby card and you have no battle cards in play, which more or less just means you can't just keep chaining your combo, like you can't keep getting the reduction for your counter plays and everything, but which I think is like a fair kind of thing. I always thought like this should be like maybe a once per turn effect instead of just you shouldn't be able to just keep continuing to do this. And I like the answer they made with it, which is really nice. But there's obviously just a lot. This is still just really good. And honestly, this is the male archetype of it as well. As you can see that they're running the full power Frieza, as well as just like the win. There's no win condition. I mean, there's like Fu can maybe win you the game, or like Baby can maybe like get the counter for it, but there's no like strict win condition besides just like not dying, which is interesting as well. We also have the Syn Shenron, where it has the counterattack. This doesn't get the reduction, but the reduction from the Planet Tuffle, but you still can counterplay this, and then they can't swing. And if this card's out, you can't play your own counterattacks with reduction, but it does have blocker too, so they can just swing in, block, they mill 4, they can swing again, and then after that you can say, I'll use Revenge Big Bang Attack or whatever. So I think that's really strong. And going from there, obviously not as heavy on the counters as it used to be, but Revenge Big Bang Attack gets around the new reduction from Planet Tuffle because you still don't get to play the battle card, which is kind of nice. And it looks honestly, this deck still just looks really obnoxious to play against. And I'm happy that I have not played against it yet, but it's still just super strong. Blue just has a lot of cool targets, and if you're able to just get into the late turns, then you're sitting really, really good. So that's this list here. And going to number 13, we have Eric's Cooler Mill, and so another mill deck as well. And spoilers, we got another one. But yeah, it's just as I was saying, there's a lot of decks right now that are, in the top 16, there were 5 decks that had a mill win condition, which hasn't really happened in a while. We've seen like 1 or 2 mill decks every once in a while. Mostly they've been like Aandroidd 18 ones, and honestly, we got like the new, Syn Shenron Xeno, which is strictly a mill deck, but it hasn't been topping as far as I know. But just the support of just running this card, like this card, just like everyone's like, maybe we should explore mill decks again, and then people are like, oh, they're really good still. Like they're competent decks, and that was something with Dark Broly. Like they mill so many cards of their deck, and we're gonna still see like cards, decks like the Gogeta Fusion where they're milling their own deck a lot, and without Vegix being played a lot either. You don't have to be worried about your your win condition just being null and void. So I think that's really cool. Obviously there's some new cooler stuff as well. We're getting a new promo. I don't know if the promo is going to be good, but I do think Eric's list is really, really cool, especially because it is a tricolor. It is red, blue, and yellow, partially with this new Beerus Unceasing Rage as well. It just has a rival for 1 red, and you have to combo red yellow, which isn't too terrible for this deck. And you don't even have to, you don't have to charge a yellow at all, since it does go off the red. And then when this card is played, draw 1, then choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and they get minus 10k power for the turn, which does also proc the cooler auto, which is nice. And also active main for 1 red, 1 yellow, and 1 anything. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. They get minus 20k power for the turn. This card gets plus 5k and triple strike for the turn. So if you want to charge a yellow to get that active, go for it. I would assume he just played mostly red blue energy for the turn, for the game, for that. But it's just really cool. And I think in this, one of your red or blue battle cards, you can return it to your hand. So yeah, you can bounce this back and then you can use it again, which is nice. Cooler's obviously great for doing the same thing. And it just seems like a really obnoxious deck as well. And then you can use either Bardock or the Ape. Both these cards you can spend energy just to draw cards, which is cool, and just keep going from there. And then the Gohan's Secret Rare, just because assuming it's just the on play auto of when this card's played, choose over your opponent's battle cards, ignoring bear, get minus 25k power for the turn. And then also plus 1. When your opponent attacks with a battle card, you may choose it. It gets minus 25k power for the turn, which also just procs the cooler and kind of goes from there. So it looks like a super strong list. Also having like the Mach Speed Kaioken Son Goku, which I haven't seen in like forever. So shoutouts to that card being back in the meta, it seems. But looks like a really solid list, and I'm excited to see it. Next up, we've got Brian Brown's Jiren. And I'm going to be honest, I really don't know how this deck works. I haven't been able to play with, but lucky for you guys, he does have a video for it, so I would just recommend watching that bad boy. In general, the idea of this deck is just to go up your, you use your EX Evolves to go up your Jirens to get to your big boys, and you can do it on your opponent's turn with your leader effect, as long as you can do the Spirit Boost. And you just also have like a bunch of like free playing of 1-drops, which include the Jirens, but also these other Universe 11 dudes as well. So pretty cool. I don't think it's. I think honestly, I would assume it's kind of ride or die on finding your topo at times, just because it's really integral to have this one unison to do your things. But if you're able to see what you need to see, I can see this being really impressive and everything from there. But make sure to watch this video if you want to see more of this list. He'll definitely explain it way better than I would. And then lastly, we do have the Relentless Speed Janemba, a very old promo leader from 2018, I think. Yeah, so this guy's almost 3 years old. That's crazy. 3 years old, probably November this year. But this is like the OG mill leader for this game. And he swings. You're able to mill 2 from your opponent, and then you just get some cool stuff. He does have an effect that you can't play cards with cost of 5 or more, which kind of sucks because one, blue can't play, the Trunks counterplay because it's a 5 cost, and also the new Syn Shenron is also a 5 cost, even though it gets reduced to a 2 cost on your opponent's turn, so you can't play that. I think it would be broken in this deck just because you get the free, like this leader just mills by itself without having to do anything else, so that extra mill potential is crazy. But there are some kind of just new tools, and I think it's just a good meta call in general. There's just a lot of decks that are really greedy that just draw a lot, and just being able to punish them for drawing and not being able to push a lot of damage is really good too, because I don't think there's, obviously aggro got neutered a little bit as well. It's not as powerful as it was, and if Janemba can kind of set up with what it has, then it can be really hard just to get enough damage to kind of finish the game there. But that is it. That is all 16 lists from this event. Once again, I'm really excited to see all the diversity we saw this past weekend. So that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think about these lists, what you guys are excited for, starting with the anniversary box, and I'll catch you all next time.